Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And yesterday I said I was going to do a video on the Great Reset and all these propaganda videos that have been out there. Now, I failed to do that video. That hopefully will get done today with a watch along because their last advertisement is just like so brazen and like cartoonish and in your face that it has to be discussed. And really, their overall propaganda from previous agendas of not only the Great Reset, but Agenda 2030, right? Agenda 21 before that. We have to integrate all of those because it's all the same globalist plot line of command and control. That's the reality. That's why I don't like using the term communism or socialism, because it's so much more than that. It's so much more than you could ever imagine, because the level of human regimentation that will be involved in this massive project of quote unquote building back better really can't be comprehended by the average person out there. It's really tough to wrap their heads around that all the data that they're receiving through not only your phone, which is a smart device, but everything around you, from the CCTV cameras to the GPS devices to the card swiping to the discount codes to the amount of times you take a selfie. I mean, it goes on and on and on, how you react to that, to the automated, right, content recognition, aka video, audio, all these different patents they've had for a long time, put it out there, talked about it in whispers and in, the bottoms of articles where it's barely mentioned. That's the reality. And that's what this Great Reset is. Now, I tweeted out a story where John Kerry has confirmed that, yes, the Biden administration is going full Great Reset, and it's going to happen probably quicker than people imagine. Now, right now, Davos is going on. Bill Gates gave a little speech, ski and hutch. There's all these different panels. I'm not going to lie. It's hard for me to watch these. It's hard for me to listen to these people speak about these things in such a manner where they're basically dictating what will be done to the people who are too stupid to govern themselves. Because we didn't vote for any of this. I promise you that. Now, this panel has more than Kerry on it. And we're going to go over the article where he talks about the Biden administration, but he uses all the key words here where we're going to build back better. And really, he looks to the privatized marketplaces. He knows this is fascism. This is global fascism, where they tell you you own nothing and they own everything. It's pretty wild. But they say it's to save the earth, and it's all about carbon emissions. It's always been about carbon emissions. And then it's all about markets. All right? Folks, as a lot of you know, we're fully demonetized on the YouTube platform. I want to thank everybody who came in to the live and free Rockfin video. If you're watching this on the replay, again, couldn't do it without you. Go check out the Go Get Funding. I had somebody try to hack into my PayPal last night, it looks like. Like, tried to reset my password 3 times. Really weird. Just a lot of haters lately. A lot of haters don't want to see Jason Burmis make money. Be able to do it several times a day on the regular. If you are watching this on YouTube, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. If you're not, and you're only on Rockfin, go check out the YouTube as well. We're trying to stay on that platform for as long as possible. Even though they gave me a warning yesterday and took down a video where a doctor, Corey, talked in the Senate about something. I don't want to say it. But I saw Ron Johnson, the senator who was talking to him, on the news yesterday saying, yeah, YouTube took that video down. I'm going to try to find that clip and do a whole video on it. I wonder if that'll get taken down. Is that against it? So remember to Rockfin, at least follow. If you are a premium subscriber, you get all the archives and additional content that others do not get. So like at the end of the week, I usually turn a bunch of the stuff premium for everybody that does support me. And I do want to thank everybody that's throwing the tips out there. They are also appreciated. We love the Rockfin here. All the documentary films, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order, Define and Shade the Motion Picture are free right here, right now in the playlist section. By the way, Fabled Enemies, as relevant as ever. If you're following the Omar Saeed Sheikh story and the beheading of Daniel Pearl, which I've been following for quite some time, and talking about its involvement in 9/11. Odyssey, thank you so much for backing up my entire channel, and let's get the video started. What do we got right here? Is this possibly... Oh, no, that's not what I thought. John Kerry reveals devotion to radical Great Reset movement. The Hill. Okay, and I want to read the quote because, again, we're going to play Kerry just talking about stuff. But this is part of that panel discussion, okay? Because we're going to play, again, we're going to play it so you can understand a broader scope of what's going on here. At a panel discussion about the Great Reset hosted at the World Economic Forum in mid-November. Oh, this is the mid-November one. He said this, by the way. We're playing the one literally from yesterday. And not only the one from yesterday, but they keep talking about Glasgow and next November and what they're going to try to do in the next 10 months. Okay? Former Secretary of State John Kerry, Biden's would-be special presidential envoy for climate, firmly declared that Biden administration will support the Great Reset, and the Great Reset will happen with greater speed and with greater intensity than a lot of people might imagine. When asked by a panel hosted by Barge Brende whether the World Economic Forum and other Great Reset supporters are expecting too much too soon from the new president, or is he going to deliver on the first day of his topics, Kerry responded, the answer to your question is no. You're not expecting too much. And yes, it will happen. And I think it will happen with a greater speed and with greater intensity than a lot of people might imagine. In effect, the citizens of the United States have just done a great reset. We've done a great reset. And it was a record level of voting. What do you think about that? Kerry later argued that the Great Reset is necessary to slow the climate crisis, and that I know Joe Biden believes it's not enough to just rejoin Paris. Yeah, he talks about how the Paris Climate Accords basically didn't do anything. All right? So at least the press is now reporting on something that happened in November, and John Kerry was very open about. And now we have this video here, okay, where Kerry, oh, sorry, folks. What's going on here? Oh, of course. Why would the desktop be available? We do it live. I think it's that one. There it is. Boom. All right, let's go, Mr. Kerry.
And may I say, you've become a great friend, and as Norway's foreign minister, you were always an extraordinary partner to all of us. You're a great collaborator, and in your own right, a great renowned leader on climate change and ocean conservation, which I personally benefited from enormously the impact of your advocacy when you came to Washington for the first ocean conference. So thank you for that. You were literally a great tag team partner then, and you brought the same determination and vision to your work at the helm of the World Economic Forum, and we thank you. So congratulations on making the conference a success, even during a global pandemic. The scenery is...
Oh, even during a global pandemic. Let me just say something about Kerry I really didn't get into. John Kerry is as blue blood, establishment, puppet, part of the cartel as you could possibly get. John Kerry, okay, Rhodes Scholar. John Kerry, Yale Skull and Bones. John Kerry, distant cousin of George W. Bush on both sides. John Kerry, not a great guy. Not a great guy. I mean, I mean, Rhodes Scholar, you name it. This guy, you know, the thing is that he knew he was not going to be president when he ran against Bush in 2004. He threw it on purpose. Okay, period. He was a placeholder. They didn't, you know, people act like fraudulent elections or, you know, predetermined outcomes are new in the United States. They're not new. They're not new. Trump threw a little bit of a slight wrench in there because he got enough backing from a separate faction that wanted him in there. Because everybody's not on the same page. But you better believe that John Kerry and what's left of Joe Biden's brain, okay, they're on the globalist page.
It's kind of changed, but I think everybody would agree the focus is the same, and you're busy breaking down the silos and bringing sectors and stakeholders together to find the synergies on critical issues. Obviously, I think nothing fits the bill for doing that more than global climate change. And it's been at the top of your global risks report for a number of years now. 3 years ago, scientists starkly warned us that we had 12 years in which to make decisions to avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis.
It's always 12 years and 10 years and 20 years and 30 years. And he'll say the same thing again this time. He'll go, this is our last best chance. It's our last best, you know, it's like, it's our last best chance every time. It's our last best chance.
Now, already, we're down to 9 years left. And we're into the decisive decade for action, and the evidence of urgency is literally all around us. I know it's easy to get a little bit barraged by it all, and you're almost numb to the warnings. But over Christmas, I read an article by Michael Benson that ought to stop every single one of us in our tracks. He examined photographs from geostationary satellites, and piecing, you could see huge plumes of smoke when you saw these pictures from Australia's fires with, and I quote him, flame vortexes spiraling 200 feet into the air, passing New Zealand and stretching thousands of miles into the Cobalt Pacific. And there in plain sight was the result of a disaster so vast that it had already consumed 15 million acres, a figure that then would rise to 46 million. And in the end, Australia's fires killed dozens of people, destroyed 5,900 buildings, and quite likely, according to the best science, rendered some of the country's endangered species extinct.
According to the best science. All of this is according to the best science. You know, nature's just not a thing anymore, ever. Nature's not a thing anymore, ever. It's all bad climate change. Let's give ourselves over to billionaires to regulate carbon and then tax us for it. That's how we'll solve it. Net zero emissions.
Benson summed it up with shocking iconographic precision. That unfurling banner of smoke said, the war has started, we're losing. So in the United States, 3 storms 2 years ago, Irma, Harvey, and Maria, cost us $265 billion just to clean up after them. Last year, 1 storm, $55 billion. Yet in stark contrast, we don't fully fund our Paris commitment of $100 billion a year mobilized for poorer nation adaptation and mitigation. So we're here now at this moment, not just because we understand the urgency or because we understand the moral imperative. We're here because we know we can't afford to lose any longer. And action is the one moral, economic, and scientific imperative worth contemplating. Let me just say to you, President Biden is totally committed to this fight. He understands what we're up against, and that's why he ran on the most ambitious, comprehensive climate platform of any presidential candidate in U.S. history. It's why he made Building Back Better, investing in clean energy and clean transportation to create millions of jobs. He made it a pillar of his campaign and now a centerpiece of his presidency.
Building Back Better, pillar of the campaign, centerpiece of his presidency. He's pledged to it. This is it. We're doing it. And we've seen the executive orders already. Look how smug and happy John Kerry is. He's like, we've been trying to do this for years. And here's the thing. This whole crowd is equating COVID-19 84 and this pandemic with climate change. And if those things are equating, think about that. That's regulating your movement, it's curfews, it's lockdowns, it's medical martial law. It's a fucking nightmare. None of it's good. None of it's good.
It's the reason today, 1 week into the job, the President Biden will sign another series of executive orders that continue to advance his climate agenda.
Those executive orders, and you've already seen them. You've already seen them.
First, making climate central to foreign policy planning and national security preparedness by creating platforms to coordinate climate action across all federal agencies and departments, by directing his administration to develop a U.S. climate finance plan, as well as a plan for ending international financing of fossil fuel projects with public money, and moving to ratify the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, and by hosting a leaders summit less than 3 months from now on Earth Day, April 22nd. It is also, obviously, why he rejoined the Paris Agreement just hours after being sworn in as president.
I mean, he's licking those lips. You see how many times he's licking those lips? Don't get me wrong. I get a little chappington every once in a while. I have a drink of coffee. I lick my lips. He just licked his lips in joy about all of this. This is the takeover. Now look at how happy that ghoul is. Look what he's done to his face. You look at John Kerry from 17 years ago. His nose was different. His cheekbones were different. He absolutely got work done. And I know the super conspiracy theorist is like, well, he's a clone or he was replaced and yada, yada, yada. He's obviously a lizard person licking his lips that much. Sure acts like one, Jason. Satire, folks. Hopefully this one, when I repost it over on YouTube, it doesn't get taken down for disinformation. Burma says Kerry's a reptile. I mean, that's probably where we're at, right? Let's keep going.
So it's fair to say that he knows we don't have a single moment to waste. And I think all of the members of this panel understand that. He also knows that Paris alone is not enough. Not when almost 90% of global emissions comes from outside of US borders, as it does for most countries in the world. So domestic action cannot possibly be enough if we don't together forge an international strategy to galvanize the world, to drive greater ambition from every country, every sector, and ensure that the clean energy future we need is global in scope and scale. The whole world has to come to this table to solve the problem. So we rejoin the international climate effort with humility, and I mean that, and ambition. Humility, because we know we've wasted 4 years in which we were inexcusably absent. Humility, knowing that today almost no country, and for certain no continent, is getting the job done. But we re-enter with ambition, knowing that at the COP in Glasgow in November, all nations have to raise our sights together, or we all fail together. Our goal in Glasgow is to see all major emitting countries together raise ambition, to not be content with goals 30 years from now, but to lay out roadmaps with benchmarks starting this year.
All right, so here it is. This is the rapid takeover right here. He's talking about benchmarks that we're going to hit in a year, 2 years, within that 2030 agenda. Okay? Within that 2030 agenda.
To acknowledge gaps where they exist, but to show how we get there. Because we need technology breakthroughs, and critically, we need to put forward real finance plans to bring the whole world along. Failure is obviously not an option.
Failure is not an option. That basically means we'll subjugate the people to whatever we want and say whatever we want to get our outcome. Because we believe that the ends justify the means. And we are the predator class, so we decide.
And that's why ambition is so important, because success will actually bring enormous reward in countless measures. We have to get away from this argument that deniers and procrastinators have made that this is a choice between a quality of life or taking care of this challenge. Success means tapping into the best of global ingenuity, creativity, and diplomacy, from brain power to alternative energy power, using every tool we have to get where we need to go. A zero emissions future offers remarkable opportunity for business, for clean, green jobs, for economic growth, and to use the president's words, to build back better from the global economic crisis.
So again, he quotes Biden. He uses the terminology, build back better. We're only going to play this one segment. The whole panel's about an hour long, and Kerry gets 2 more big spots and then a wrap up at the end. All right? But he's talking about global fascism. Global fascism. Zero emissions is not possible. It is not possible. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't other technologies out there, but do they want you to have those technologies? You know, in this, he talks about how, Tesla is the #1 car stock. He talks about a failing motor industry. Maybe we are going to have to play the second part because, this is real. And this guy's laying it on the table, and already these people are doing all these things through executive orders, and already they have these lockdowns, and already they have so many people wrapped into this fear agenda. They are literally in fear for their lives and rolling their sleeves up, in hopes that they get their freedoms back.
Just a few quick examples to demonstrate what this opportunity really is. The highest valued auto company in the world today is Tesla, and it only makes electric vehicles. Mitsubishi is building the world's largest zero-emission steel plant in Austria. Heidelberg Cement is working on a plant in Norway that anticipates capturing all of its CO2 from concrete by 2030. Globally, the cheapest new electric power plant you can install is based on renewables, which explains why it now makes up more than 70% of all new capacity. And green economies are going to generate a remarkable number of new jobs. The EU anticipates 2 million of different jobs. Here in the US, until COVID, we had 5 years of steady growth in clean energy employment, with over 3.3 million workers put into jobs across our country. India has seen a 5-fold increase in clean energy jobs over the same period. And that's just a taste of the marketplace without limits that awaits us if we get serious.
The marketplace without limits that awaits us to build back better. Look at all these people that are already out of jobs with these executive orders. Whether you like these pipelines or not, I'm telling you now, They're shutting these industries down to squeeze out the little guy, not to squeeze out big oil, okay, to transition them into new economic systems that create even larger gaps, okay, from me and you to guys like John Kerry and those that control him. Because he's a lot like Andrew Capo Cuomo, okay? He does things on the behest of others. He doesn't make real decisions. You know? He's a capo.
The bottom line, my friends, is I don't think anybody can say, I mean, individual countries have been serious, individual companies have been serious, but as a world, we have yet to be really serious and do what we need to do. And according to most of the recent statistics, emissions globally rose over the years since Paris. And while 2020 obviously saw a small dip because of COVID, they are now again on the rise, and everybody expects a quick rebound unless much more stringent policies are put into place. To be on track and accomplish this, even with a 66% probability of keeping global temperatures from rising more than 1.5 degrees, we need to cut global emissions.
I mean, that's gross. Like, John Kerry's a gross. Here he goes. He's gonna lay out a ton of improbable things, but you saw him spit himself on his lip, and then he took that lizard tongue of his and he flicked it back into his mouth. John Kerry, one of the ghouls in the Biden administration that is actually scary because he is articulate, and overall, he is there upstairs. And he's been an establishment, bootlicker, globalist, secret society goon since his inception.
Half by 2030. What does that mean? It means we have to phase out coal 5 times faster than we have been. It means we have to increase tree cover 5 times faster. It means we have to ramp up renewable energy 6 times faster. It means we have to transition to electric vehicles at a rate 22 times faster.
Did you just hear that? That's scary. Transition to electrical vehicles 22 times faster than what they said. Think about what that means for the cars that you have. If you don't think executive orders and mandates could come out of nowhere right now, maybe you missed 2020 or the beginning of 2021. Because the sky's the limit to these people, all right? In their false, the world is ending narrative. It's all bullshit.
All of that is achievable if we plan, if we invest, and if we tap the forces of the marketplace. Can we do it? We actually can, but not unless we summon greater political will, not unless we harness the full energy of the marketplace, not unless we ask the private sector to help our financial institutions mobilize essential trillions in the innovation and the finance that we need.
Notice he said will. I remember a guy that used to talk about will. His name was Hitler. Political will. And he had a buddy named Mussolini. Big fascist, you know, kind of like the epitome of fascism. Today they talk about that. But right here, he's talking about the power of marketplaces, private sector, trillions of dollars, transitions. Not really talking about the average Joe and Jane, you and your family, and how it's going to benefit any of them other than all these green jobs. We're going to have green jobs. Okay.
I believe that's achievable. And like all of you, I cannot wait to bring us all together, get us together at whatever fora it is. Anywhere in the world. There are many of them that are going to take place. We all have to work together. This is a matter of multilateral leadership, not any one country or any one group of people. We all are committed to working with the LOC and with the British and Italian presidencies and making Glasgow exactly what it needs to be, where we have portfolios that add up to net zero emissions. and can't wait to be at it with everybody. Thank you.
Again, this is a much, much longer forum, and anybody can go check it out right now. I mean, the World Economic Forum is on YouTube, just like DARPA is on YouTube. You want to see what's really going down in the world? You want to see the anti-human universal basic income agenda that's out there, the transhumanist push, all right, the globalist push, net zero emissions, globalism. Okay, not me, not for me. We're going to do a video, like I said, later today, where we go over a bunch of the Great Reset propaganda that they've now put out, including this latest, like 4.5-minute propaganda piece that's over the top. But I do want to remind everybody who's out there watching on the replay, couldn't do it without you, the Go Get Funding's how we're doing it. We got kicked off of GoFundMe for our last campaign. Can't use that anymore. Can't do that. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Rockfin, Rockfin, Rockfin. We do it at least 5 times a week exclusively. We usually do it at 11 a.m. Eastern. Did it today, live and free at 11 a.m. Eastern. Hope you were here for the live show. If you weren't, you still get to watch it on the replay for free. So at least make the free account. Follow me here. Again, who knows how much longer I'm going to be on YouTube anyway. You know, they just nailed me for playing a doctor at a Senate session from months ago. It was pre-Christmas. So a video I did 6 weeks ago about a doctor who said some things that go against the World Health Organization, basically another tentacle of the clubhouse you're watching over there. I'm the bad guy. I get a whoa whistle blown. That one's exclusive, by the way, at Rockfin. If you're watching this on the replay, you didn't get to see that because I can't really put how I feel on the YouTube. All the documentary films are free. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Backed up on Odyssey all the way. Thank you, Odyssey. You guys rock. Guys, I love you. I mean, if you can't tell right now, it's not about left or right or socialism or capitalism. It's all little tentacles and arms of this predator class that doesn't give a flying fizzuckle about you. Not a flying fizzuckle, okay? Don't care. That's what it's about. It's about fighting that class of people and that type of propaganda. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the flip.